Why haven't we celebrated the downfall of AIDS? I'm cautious about donning my party hat. By Brandon Elrich. Okay, I know that Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome, AIDS, hasn't been completely eradicated, but it's on its knees begging for mercy. World AIDS Day is approaching, and October was LGBTQ History Month, but these two subjects shouldn't be confined to a single day or even 30 days. We should always be aware of the devastation AIDS has caused, the part it played in the lives of LGBTQ people, and how history could repeat itself. I wish the world were at a point where we could say that AIDS was only a mention in the queer history book, but we're not there yet. AIDS used to be a death sentence. During the 1980s and 90s, men in the gay community especially were fearful of contracting and being labeled with those dreaded 4 letters. As researchers learned more about Human Immunodeficiency Virus, HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, they developed treatments that kept it from progressing to that immunity killer. It became manageable, allowing people not only to continue existing, but also to live longer and healthier lives. When people had AIDS at the height of the disease, it was discovered because of the obvious signs and symptoms: swollen lymph glands, persistent fever, flu-like symptoms, weight loss, etc. By that time, doctors simply tried to make the patients more comfortable because there was nothing else they could do. Medical advances made it possible to treat the disease, keeping it at an HIV status without progressing into AIDS. It was harnessed but still detrimental and spreadable. Eventually, scientists developed medications that reduced the symptoms of HIV to levels that rendered the disease undetectable. This antiretroviral therapy, ART, was a game changer. ART meant that even if you contracted HIV, you weren't doomed to die a slow, agonizing, and humiliating death as many AIDS patients did. Another aspect that many don't understand is that if HIV is undetectable, it is also non-transmittable through sex. Undetectable means untransmittable. U equals U has become a popular slogan to spread this message and eliminate fear. Then came the introduction of pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP. PrEP effectively prevents HIV transmission through sex. It was a huge step forward for healthy sex positivity. I'll admit that there's a lot of sex in the gay male community, and HIV disproportionately affects us. The CDC reports that in the U.S. in 2022, 71% of HIV infections were among gay and bisexual men. However, between 2018 and 2022, estimated HIV infections decreased 10% among gay and bisexual men, which shows the treatments are working. This proclivity for sex puts us at odds with many prudish and far-right conservatives. We've been ostracized and shamed not only for what we do and who we have sex with. Do Bible thumpers really want to think about us in the bedroom that much? But for who we are. Growing up in a conservative household, I am quite familiar with guilt and shame. I felt guilty for being proud of my accomplishments. I felt guilty for showcasing my talents in music, art, and writing. And I felt shame for being gay. ART and PrEP helped to alleviate the shame associated with what many people considered a, quote, gay disease. It's not that we should feel the need to hide who's in our beds. It's nobody's damn business. But having AIDS would make it nearly impossible to keep our health status private. Ridding the world of a deadly disease shouldn't be about politics or religion. It should be about valuing human life. AIDS still causes deaths, though. Poverty, high population density, and inaccessible health care still plague countries beyond the well-manicured hedges and walls of the United States and other privileged nations. Countries in the southern portion of Africa have the highest rates, with 7,700,000 people living with HIV in South Africa in 2023. A study published in the National Library of Medicine shows that only 6,600 people infected with HIV in sub-Saharan Africa were on treatment in 2000, but that number increased to 2,950,000 in 2008. More progress is needed, but it's a marked improvement. We should be celebrating the fact that we don't have to fear dying of AIDS. We should be blowing horns and other things because we can have a sexual relationship more safely. But before we don our rainbow-colored, neck-pinching party hats, there may be cause for concern, at least in the United States. Earlier this year, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in a case brought by Braidwood Management, a Christian for-profit organization headed by Texas doctor and Republican Stephen Holtz. Currently, provisions in the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, require insurance companies to cover PrEP at no charge. The Christian organization is challenging those coverage requirements. I could see these preventative and disease-fighting drugs falling under the umbrella of, quote, gender-affirming care with some creative wordplay and manipulation. Members of the LGBTQ plus community are among the demographic utilizing a majority of these medicines. Is it a coincidence that a conservative organization is targeting them? The federal government currently defends the ACA, but whether coverage for PrEP continues may be at the discretion of the current administration, including Robert F. Kennedy, the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Taking into account his ideological leanings, he may come up with some worm-brained theory about ART or PrEP being yet another cause of autism, or that these treatments make people more gay. You don't know me, Robbie, but let me just put your parasitically infected mind at ease. I'm already pretty damn gay. The United States Preventive Services Task Force, USPSTF, recommends preventative services, including PrEP. However, the HHS and the President have the power to remove members of the USPSTF and appoint whomever they want. Why would anyone want to eliminate medications that would stop the spread of a deadly affliction? It goes back to the beliefs of many conservatives about AIDS being a gay disease. Some believe that AIDS is part of God's judgment and that people dying of AIDS are reaping what they sow. I guess they ignore whatever horrific sins Meemaw must have committed as she suffers from Alzheimer's, or the inexcusable indiscretions of a 2-year-old with leukemia. Can we stop equating correlation with causation? Do some science-based research and don't automatically believe someone who tells you that acetaminophen and circumcisions cause autism. And stop threatening the lives of marginalized people simply because you don't like or agree with them. Many conservatives are trying to erase us by arguing for legislation that would repeal the Respect for Marriage Act and legalize conversion therapy, both in the name of religion. Ridding the world of a deadly disease shouldn't be about politics or religion. It should be about valuing human life. Make your voice heard by supporting politicians who uphold human rights, no matter who the people those rights are afforded to. Vote for bills that promote health and happiness, not ones that remove rights and benefits. My gay agenda is to live a happy and fulfilling life. Anything wrong with that? If you'd answer yes, you probably haven't read this far anyway. If you answer no, please be an ally not only to the LGBTQ plus community, but to the world. We need to kick AIDS while it's down and eliminate it for good. The world forgot to celebrate the phenomenal achievements that have almost eradicated a once incurable disease. The LGBTQ plus community remembers, and we're taking precautions. Even the dating app Grindr includes a section for health, including HIV status, health practices, condoms, doxypep, PrEP, HIV undetectable or preferred to discuss, vaccinations, COVID-19, monkeypox, meningitis, last tested date, and an option for a reminder to get tested after a certain date. We're doing our part, now you do yours. Taking away free access to ART and PrEP isn't about holding on to a particular ideology. It's releasing a caged monster onto the world. If you want to help me continue to inform people about these issues, please consider becoming a paid subscriber for $6 per month or $60 per year. You can collaborate with me on an article, audio podcast, or live video. Click subscribe now. To subscribe without collaborating, you can sign up for $3 per month or $30 per year. Click 50% off. If you want to think about it first, please consider buying me a coffee. I appreciate any support you're willing or able to offer.